Today I'm going to show you how you can build an amazing fragrance collection for under 250 bucks and actually have a little bit left over to maybe get yourself a Happy Meal or something. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. All the fragrances I share with you are gonna be linked in the description below. And we're covering everything here. Stuff for summer, stuff for winter, classier things, sexier things, basically covering any reason you could possibly have to wear a fragrance. And I'm also gonna give you some backups. So if you don't like some of these choices, I'll give you other ones that you can slot in instead. The first fragrance to kick off this collection, Missoni Wave. I found this one online for $25.82. And every price I give you today is for a 50 or 100 ml size bottle. Not like a 15 ml travel size, not a 30 ml, you know, not the tiny little baby bottles. And everybody knows about Missoni Wave, right? This is one of the most popular, inexpensive fragrances out there, and for good reason. The presentation looks slick. So wherever you have this, whether it's on your dresser or in a cabinet or something like that, it's gonna look good. Not that that overly matters, but to some people it does. Also comes with a nice magnetic cap if you get the full presentation instead of a tester. If you get the tester, it comes without a cap, so it'll look a little goofy. This one is for hot weather, for daytime, for vacations, for a casual compliment pulling scent. It does that perfectly, and realistically, you can wear this year round. I mean, if you're gonna be spending your time inside like air-conditioned places, then this you can wear whenever you want. In terms of how this smells, it's similar to Versace Pour Homme or Chanel Allure Homme Sport. In actuality, it's kind of in between the two. It's not quite as creamy and dense as Allure Homme Sport, but it does have a little more depth to it than Versace Pour Homme. And so for a lot of people, this is kind of the Goldilocks fragrance because it gives you just as good performance as those fragrances, if not better, a similar scent profile at a lower price. And as I said before, it's just a versatile compliment pulling beast for spring and summer. Great for basically any situation you find yourself in. Only drawback, and it's not really a drawback for this fragrance, is Missoni has not been putting out any new fragrances for years, at least for men. And so, you know, we got this one and it's a hit with people that know about it, and then nothing afterwards. But that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. While you can, scoop this one up for cheap, add it to your collection. The next one you can find for $20.50. Crazy cheap, and it's this one right here, Jasoor from Lattafa. A lot of places you'll find this for about 30 bucks, but if you look around, you can find it much closer to 20. And the presentation style here looks a little iffy. If you didn't know anything about this fragrance, you might look at it and say, oh, it's kind of tacky, looks kind of lame. But this stuff right here is a hidden weapon on the cheap. It's more playful, great for a date, really good for a night out, also good during the day, during spring, fall, and winter time, even summer actually. Smells similar to Coral Fantasy by Valentino. Probably the best clone of that fragrance that you can get, especially when you consider the price point. The bang for buck here is crazy. It sticks around for a long time, so you don't have to worry about reapplying over and over and over again. And the projection is pretty good as well. So if you're unfamiliar with Coral Fantasy, it has an amazing red apple note off the top. It's fresh, it's crisp, a little bit sweet, and then as it dries down, tobacco comes out. And this fragrance has those aspects locked in. It also has leather and tonka as it dries down, so a little additional sweetness from that tonka. It's gonna give it a slight vanilla touch. Also clean lavender and cardamom rounding this one out. Just a really easy scent that you can pull off pretty much whenever you want, and for about 20 bucks. Doesn't get much better than this. Now a fragrance that you could swap in, Eros Flame. Versace Eros Flame, in my opinion, one of the best fragrances out there for a somewhat affordable price from a designer brand. Amazing performance with that one, a great balance of freshness and sweetness. Eros Flame you can wear pretty much year round. The reason it's not here is because it costs a little bit more usually than most of the ones in this collection, but that one is perfect if you want something that you can wear year round. And also potentially Versace Dylan Blue, so another Versace. That one is a solid, inexpensive blue fragrance. You could wear that anytime you would wear something like Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel. The next fragrance in this collection though is Raees. This is by Arabiyat Prestige. The bottle is huge, 6 ounces, so you get a ton for what you pay for. Unfortunately, the price has crept up on this one. It is now $34.99 as of this video. When I bought the fragrance, I think I only paid like $25 for it. Maybe it was $30, but it has definitely crept up a little bit. And unfortunately, that does happen as people learn about fragrances. The price will go up because more people are buying it. This one is a clone of Acqua di Gio's Profondo. So this one is like your daily driver fragrance, especially during spring and summertime. You can wear it to work, you can wear it on errands, you can wear it on a date, you can wear it pretty much anywhere. It gives you that blue fragrance aquatic versatility that Acqua di Gio is so well known for, or Acqua di Gio Profondo more specifically. And when I say Profondo, I mean the original eau de parfum version of Profondo, because they have changed it, you know, the new bottle, the new iteration of the eau de parfum, then they have the eau de toilette and they have the parfum. So yeah, this right here, original version of Acqua di Gio Profondo, huge bottle, so you can use it crazy, you can spray it on heavy, and the quality is solid. The next scent to add into the collection, White and Black by Lalique. $28.05 for this one. It smells a little bit similar to Layton by Parfums de Marly. Now I should say the pricing that I got for these was spread across a bunch of different websites, and I did not include coupons for the prices that I'm quoting you. So for example, JOMASHOP, Gift Express, Fragflex, Fragrance Lord, all these different sites, I have coupon codes that are right here. I did not include the coupons in the prices here. So technically, a lot of these you could get for less than the amount that I'm quoting you. By the way, those codes are also in the description below. So White and Black, this one right here, this is for evenings. This is for fall and winter. It smells way more expensive than it costs. And really that goes for all Laliques for the most part, because like it or not for the brand, most of their scents are heavily marked off. Stuff like Encre Noir, Lalique Pour Homme, this one right here, you can find them at discounters almost all day for under 30 bucks, and they all smell way more pricey than they cost. So, you know, any of those fragrances realistically you could toss in here if you wanted. You know, you could lose like this, for example, and replace it with one of those. It wouldn't do the same thing as this. There are no Lalique fragrances that are, you know, aquatics like Missoni Wave, but you know what I'm saying, just in terms of price. So this is a classy, sexy, night out, expensive smelling attention getter. As I said, in the wheelhouse of Parfums de Marly Layton, just absolutely fantastic smelling. Warm, spicy, sexy, little bit sweet. Now another replacement that you could slot in here if you wanted to is Odyssey Aqua by Armaf. That one smells similar to Invictus Platinum. So if you would rather have a clone of Invictus Platinum, and it is pretty close to the Rabanne Odyssey Aqua, you could put that in here for one of these. Let's go dirt cheap with the next one. This is Hunter Intense, $19.99. And this right here was a little bit ahead of its time, because nowadays you're seeing a bunch of fragrances out there from clone houses that are hybrids, taking two different fragrances, putting them together, and then saying, oh, here's our new original fragrance. It's totally unique, guys. This is not a clone. What are you talking about? But there's a lot of that going on where clone brands are coming out with something where they take, you know, something from this fragrance and something from that fragrance, put it together, and come out with something new. And this did that ahead of the curve, because this smells similar to Dior Sauvage and also Invictus, or Invictus Intense by Rabanne. Now that I think about it, Invictus gets put into everything. Lots of these hybrids or, you know, twists and stuff, they always end up having kind of an Invictus style to them. But as I said, this was like the first big hitter that did that. So what this gives you is another year-round fragrance, just when you need something easy to wear, a dumb reach, you know, the type of fragrance that wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, whatever time of year it is, you can grab, spray, and go, and it's gonna work. Summertime, yes. Office, yes. Dates, yes. It does everything. And at a very inexpensive price point. Now, if you're looking for something super unique that nobody else out there smells like, that's not this, because like I said, it smells similar to Sauvage if it had a baby with Invictus. So you're taking two of the most popular scent profiles for men out there and just putting it into one bottle. But if you're after compliments, attention, and you don't want to spend much money, that will do it. Now another really obvious one, we are talking sexy, decadently sweet. We're talking intimate situations, dates, just any time that you want positive attention, because this is a clone of a fragrance that is considered to be one of the best compliment pulling fragrances out there, period. And it is Liquid Brun by French Avenue. $29.89 for this one. Actually one of the somewhat more affordable French Avenue fragrances, because they're usually slightly more expensive than stuff like Lattafa, for a good reason. Most French Avenue stuff is great in terms of quality, bang for buck, and everything else, but yeah, they're just usually slightly more expensive. Now, there is a new limited edition of Liquid Brun, but that one, as of right now, is harder to find, and when you can find it, it's more expensive. And for most people, this one is gonna get the job done. The limited edition, if you wanted to, you know, if you wanted to splurge, you could go for that. But I think if we're talking, you know, $250 collection or under, this is the one you go with 10 times out of 10. So it smells really similar to Parfums de Marly's Altair. That fragrance is basically sweet on top of sweet on top of sweet, which is what this is. So we're talking cinnamon, orange blossom, cardamom, praline, vanilla, and then a little bit of ambroxan and gaiac wood in there as well. So you get a touch of woodiness as the fragrance dries down, and like the faintest little waft of smoke, which really just helps give it some more depth. So Liquid Brun, have to put that in the collection. Now, another couple fragrances that you could put in here, Khamrah Kawa. You could swap that one in for this or this. Price-wise, pretty similar, actually a little bit less a lot of times. And that would just be a sexy, cozy winter gourmand fragrance. It's really well done, has a nice coffee note as well. So if you want to have a Khamrah, I would go with that one, unless you can find a really good deal on one of the other ones where it's even cheaper. But as of this moment, when I looked it up, that was actually the cheapest one. Also another good one, Rare Carbon. That one smells similar to Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, and it's always really affordable. Next, let's go with this Corium by Rayhaan. So this smells similar to Stronger With You Leather. Price, $22.50. This one has a nice masculine edge, but it still has that sweetness that you would expect from a Stronger With You fragrance. And it's another one that's like jacket weather, you know, fall, winter time, evenings out. And when this first dropped, you could actually still find Stronger With You Leather for a pretty good price at discounters. Nowadays, Stronger With You Leather has gotten way harder to find and way more expensive. So Corium at $22.50 is a steal. And it kind of ticks two boxes at once. It gives you that Stronger With You vibe, which is very popular nowadays, and then also gives you that kind of leather edge that none of the other fragrances really have. The next one, $29.99, it is Mango Ice by Gulf Orchid. So this is a God of Fire cologne, which that fragrance has been everywhere. You could also swap it for Vulcan Pho. That one is really good as well, but it's a little bit more expensive typically. This one smells interesting to people, smells intoxicating, another big attention grabber. It's just kind of a fruity, tropical, sweet, summer fun fragrance. Great for day dates, and also the type of fragrance that your girlfriend or your wife might actually steal from you and wear themselves. And the final fragrance for this collection, Inekas Luna. This is by Zimaya, $23.99, and it smells similar to Gentleman Reserve Privé. So this one is gonna give you that bit of iris, because none of these really have that going on. And you know I had to put an iris fragrance in here, but keeping it cheap and having it smell really good is more difficult. So this is gonna give you, as I said, Reserve Privé kind of stylings. It's more dressy, more classy. Fall evenings, winter evenings, spring evenings, this stuff is great. Especially if, like me, you really enjoy that kind of more creamy iris style. All of this together is $235.72 as of right now. So you'll be set up for any situation under 250 bucks. Stuff for summer, stuff for winter, stuff for dates, more classy fragrances, just a bit of everything. Now, a couple of other scents that you could swap in, Hawass Fire by Versace. That one has great projection, great presence, very good for year-round use. And of course, Mont Blanc's Explorer, which is gonna give you Aventus style vibes, and it's also one of the more hyped, cheap fragrances out there. So you can swap in any of those fragrances that I mentioned to you, or you could just roll with these and you'll be good to go. I do want to say really quickly that the most important thing with your collection, whether you have 3 bottles, 9 bottles, or 100 bottles, is that you wear the stuff you own and that it makes you happy. That is the most important thing. So make sure you're buying things that put a smile on your face, and make sure you're wearing the things that put a smile on your face. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.